Welcome to Daya Headlines. I'm Li Wei-Tai. Thank you for joining us. In today's lineup, low-income families in the Bronx, New York, in the United States receive winter aid supplies from Guizhou. In China, Guizhou's 9th settlement in Guizhou province holds its opening ceremony just before the Chinese New Year. Later in Sri Lanka, many local residents and donors, some of whom joined the ranks of volunteers, are showing their support for Guizhou's year-end blessing ceremonies. We kick off today's show in a snowy New York, where the temperature in the northwest U.S. city was well below freezing. Braving the bitterly cold weather, local Guizhou volunteers went to a poor area of the Bronx to deliver over 400 items of warm winter clothing to 77 needy families. There were also toys and other gifts for the community children to enjoy.
Crunching through the snow, over 30 Guizhou volunteers arrive at the Edenwald Community Centre in the Bronx, New York, to distribute winter clothing to low-income families. The volunteers work quickly to deliver the aid into the recipients' hands so they do not have to wait a minute longer in the cold. The effort is appreciated.
I like coming here because we could get stuff that we could really use throughout the cold, and they also have some toys and jeans and stuff like that.
I give it an A+. I love it here. It's good.
They're very wonderful people. We always look forward to seeing you. We have annually, yearly, and we always look forward to seeing you. Very friendly, and you're very caring, and you're very giving, and we really appreciate that every year.
I just have to call up the brothers and ask if they are free on Saturday for a distribution, and they all say okay. No one has second thoughts. It all comes from the heart.
In this distribution, 77 New York families felt the warmth of Guizhou volunteers.
The same warmth is also being felt in Luzhou, in Taiwan's new Taipei city, where Guizhou volunteers visited 2 nursing homes to wish seniors a happy Chinese New Year in advance. Youngsters from the Wuhua kindergarten also joined the team to bring some fun and laughter to the elderly residents. To make the day even more special, volunteers prepared a traditional lion dance that set the scene for the upcoming festival. Here at a local nursing home in Luzhou in the new Taipei city, the spirit is sky high. Once a month, local Guizhou volunteers arrive to provide some entertainment and companionship for the seniors here. Elsewhere, also in Luzhou, students from Wuhua kindergarten are serving as volunteers at the Renqu nursing home. Sharing snacks with the grandpas and grandmas, the youngsters also put on a lively dance show. As the Chinese New Year is near, volunteers are here to wish the seniors happy holidays in advance. Like a big family gathering, children, adults and seniors alike are looking forward to a peaceful New Year. At the start of 2011, the Guizhou chapter in Malaysia held its annual day-long seminar for commissioners and Faith Corps members to give the senior volunteers a fresh outlook on the new year. In our next story, we introduce you to 2 of the participants who recently came back from Hualien as qualified commissioners, Chen Xiuteng and Mai Qishen. Let's hear their stories.
The annual day-long seminar for commissioners at Guizhou's Malaysia chapter is not to be missed. Recently back from Taiwan to receive his commissioner ID is Mai Qishen, who joined Guizhou because of his wife.
I saw how involved she was and how seriously she volunteered. She said Guizhou is not a philosophy, it's a path, so I decided to follow her.
Closing his market stall, Mai Qishen volunteered during Guizhou's vegetarian month of May. Although not an expert vegetarian cook, he did not miss a day and says he was willing to learn.
Because I'm a cook, I used to do this before. When I cook something or produce a dish, I put my heart into it and work at it. I don't cut corners. I just change meat into vegetarian food.
Another newly qualified commissioner is Chen Xiuteng, who has been a busy kitchen volunteer for 5 years. She says she decided to become a disciple of Master Zheng Yan while washing cabbage.
Like the master says, we have to put our hearts into everything we do. So I wash the vegetables as clean as I can for people to eat. Washing vegetables cleaned the gutter in my mind and cleared away my worries.
Giving happily and gratefully accepting the rewards, these kitchen volunteers are bubbling over with excitement at the prospect of cooking up even greater things for Tzu Chi.
Next, we have 4 stories from China on Tzu Chi's winter aid distributions and housing projects in Guizhou and Guangdong provinces. First, we go to Guangdong on the southern coast, where Tzu Chi distributed aid relief last week Saturday on January 8th. A total of 290 households received relief items.
Before dawn, 88 Tzu Chi volunteers from Xiamen, Zhangzhou, Caotou and other places gather in the city of Puning in Guangdong Province, China, to hand out relief aid to 878 people from 290 households. Though the distance between the 4 aid receiving towns is quite far, from household assessment, name listing to the day of the distribution, volunteers go from door to deliver the most needed item.
Let me open the aid package and show you what's inside. This one has your name on. You can wear these undergarments.
Sincerely handing over the relief items, volunteers bring Tzu Chi's love to the needy, hoping that they too will have a warm winter this year.
Moving westward from Guangdong to Guizhou, since 2001, Tzu Chi has been holding annual winter aid relief in Pingyan Township in Luodian County. Known for its harsh climate and treacherous terrain, Pingyan offers its residents with little arable land and means of livelihood. Over the weekend, volunteers delivered food and winter warmers to the impoverished local villagers. With temperatures hovering around 0 degrees, Guizhou's winter morning is an icy challenge. However, residents in Pingyan Township still showed up very early for Tzu Chi's annual winter aid relief.
We want to express our heartfelt love to the volunteer brothers and sisters of Tzu Chi for their compassion and love.
The distribution smoothly carries out, warming many hearts in this chilly weather. And even though most of the aid recipients have to scrimp and save to get by, many of them still donate what change they can to Tzu Chi.
I save a dime a day to donate and help needy people, wherever they are. That's right.
Totaling 6,400 people or more than 1,900 families here will each receive 36 kilograms of rice, cotton undergarments, and coats. Dharma Master De Kan from the Jinse Boat in Hualien, Taiwan is also here to take part. Outside the communal kitchen, people crowd around the stove to warm their hands. At this, Tzu Chi's 11th winter aid relief in Guizhou's Luodian County, this annual exchange of love has brought Tzu Chi and locals closer together. Staying in Pingyan Township, Guizhou, we go to the 9th settlement that Tzu Chi helped build in the Chinese province. Gaolan village celebrated its opening ceremony on Sunday, the 9th of January. All the villagers put on their Miao tribal costumes as a welcoming gesture and to celebrate the coming Chinese New Year in their new houses.
Sound of drums and musical instruments. On the opening ceremony of Gaolan village, residents put on their Miao tribal costumes as a welcome gesture to Tzu Chi, who helped build new houses for villagers.
I hope that by living here, everyone's lives can be stabilized. When our mind is at peace, we are able to settle down, and when we are settled, we will be able to work. This is what everyone wants, and it's coming true today.
Since the Huadong flood in 1991, Tzu Chi came to China to begin relief work and has never stopped since then, bringing hope for the residents in remote mountain areas who want to break free of the poverty cycle.
While the Miao women perform a dance, Tzu Chi volunteers perform their signature sign language song, hoping to pass on the message that we are one big family. A resident Li Tongcai expresses his gratitude through a speech.
Having an environment like this, all thanks to the care and support from our brothers and sisters in the Tzu Chi Foundation, on behalf of Gaolan village residents, I sincerely want to say thank you.
The new Gaolan village has 82 households, and with the Chinese New Year just a few weeks away, residents are using Jingsi aphorisms as Spring Festival couplets, surrounding the community in love and wisdom.
In the poor village of Wanxing, which is also in the Pingyan township, as the previous two stories, volunteers went from door to door to understand each family's needs. In the next segment, we visit Luo Guoqing's family and see how Tzu Chi has changed his life.
Wanxing village is one of the poorest communities in Pingyan township of Guizhou province, China. High exposure to the sun and lack of nutrition are the main reasons why Luo Guangcai is blind. His family of 12 sits around the fire to keep themselves warm.
哎呦，哎呦，饶了我，饶了也是这样的。
Our literacy level is low and I can't find a job. We get by growing corn.
Luo Guangcai's youngest son, Luo Guoqing, left home to make a living and used the money he made to renovate their house. He says since Tzu Chi came to Pingyan, Wanxing village is changing for the better.
2007年10月 Tzu Chi built a village consisting of 64 houses in Wanxing village in October 2007, giving Luo Guoqing and other residents safe and comfortable homes.
After the home assessment, Luo Guoqing leads the volunteers to his new house and shows them the furniture provided by Tzu Chi. Though the interior is simple, Luo is content with what he has.
With the blanket from Taiwan, we feel better when it gets really cold. If it weren't for the blanket, we would only have this one to use.
With the Tzu Chi coin bank in hand, although the family have a long way to go to a better quality life, Luo Guoqing believes escaping poverty starts with a new house and wants to reciprocate Tzu Chi's love by helping others in need.
On this day, the 11th of January, the US Surgeon General released a report on this day in 1964 alerting the nation to the health risks of smoking, which led to an anti-smoking campaign and the labeling of each packet with health risk warnings. The copyright law existed in Taiwan as early as 1899 under Japanese rule. On this day in 1990, Taiwan amended the law to comply with Section 301 of the US Trade Act of 1974, opening the way to joining the WTO on January 1st, 2002. Due to a series of food poisoning incidences in 1979, the then Taiwan Premier, Sun Yun-xuan, instructed lawmakers to pass a Consumer Protection Act. 14 years later, on this day in 1994, the law was ratified. An infant girl just over a month old with acidosis, a pH imbalance of the blood, was saved at Hualien Tzu Chi Hospital and released on this day in 2003. She was nicknamed the Miracle of 6.88 after her blood acidity level. On this day in 2010, the Chinese government officially recognized Tzu Chi's logo and trademark, making it the first foreign NGO in the country to receive such an honor. Now the Tzu Chi name and trademark are protected from abuse by third parties.
On this day, January 11th, 2010, the Chinese government officially recognized Tzu Chi's trademark logo, the first recognition of this kind for a foreign NGO. The move protected the Tzu Chi's logo and name in China from abuse by third parties and was evidence of the Chinese government's recognition of Tzu Chi's work. Since first setting foot in China in 1991, the Buddhist NGO has actively carried out its charity, medical, educational, and environmental missions. Many have also joined Tzu Chi as volunteers to continue the relay of love. Many friends ask me, "You're so happy serving Tzu Chi's missions. Is it because you have found your life's purpose in Tzu Chi?" My answer to that is, I feel ever so unimportant the more I do Tzu Chi's work. I have seen so many people suffering that I feel my problems are really nothing in comparison.
I'm so happy volunteering. It's about contributing selflessly to help others in need.
I've never thought that I'd become a Tzu Chi volunteer because I don't have much of an education and am not wealthy. However, I realized it's all about sincere devotion. You don't need to invest money, but only your time to participate.
All these 3 volunteers received their Tzu Chi Commissioner certification in 2010. In China, after 20 years of charity and community service, Tzu Chi has now cultivated many local volunteers who devote themselves to serving their communities, each worthy of carrying and propagating the Tzu Chi name.
Before I joined Tzu Chi, I was quite a fierce person. If you crossed me, I may give you some leeway once or twice, but not the 3rd time around. In fact, I would go out of my way to get back at you. In my neighborhoods, in the eyes of others, behind my back they used to say that I was the most horrible woman in the neighborhood and that my mom-in-law was unfortunate to have me. But 2 to 3 years later, especially this year, they now say my mom-in-law was the most fortunate to have such a good daughter-in-law.
One day, my husband suddenly asked me, "Who introduced you to Tzu Chi?" I was surprised and wasn't sure of his intentions. He then said, "You should thank that person for eternity."
It all started with a simple intention in 1991 when Tzu Chi first set foot in China to assist with the Eastern China flood relief. By August of 2010, in Suzhou, the Tzu Chi Foundation was finally given a license to operate in China and became the country's first foreign NGO. In the past 20 years, Tzu Chi's work in China expanded from charity to medicine, to education and environmental conservation, as more people came to identify with its ideals. As the volunteers serve throughout China, people in their communities are brought closer together. More and more local people also began to give volunteering a try. Universal love has no boundaries as demonstrated by Tzu Chi to people in China. Knowing they can take part in the relay of love, more and more local people are learning to give selflessly, promoting peace and harmony in China.
Elderly Mrs. Wang Honglu-Qing is a resident of Zhanghua in Taiwan who has been a volunteer at the Erling Happy Christian Home for 10 years. Her service was uninterrupted when she contracted cancer of the stomach and was too weak to volunteer. But she missed the disabled children at home, so as soon as she recovered, she went straight back to a voluntary post. Patiently leading a child by the hand, elderly Mrs. Wang Honglu-Qing keeps up the words of encouragement throughout the whole therapy routine.
When I see these children, I feel for them like they are my own children.
The volunteer says every individual at the Erling Happy Christian Home in Zhanghua, Taiwan needs to be treated differently. But the one thing she does not change is her happy smile.
Grandma smiles sweetly. I like her very much.
Wang Honglu-Qing's service at the home for children with disabilities was interrupted 3 years ago when she contracted cancer of the stomach. She says volunteering helps keep her mind off her condition.
On the one hand, I can relax and not think about how ill I am. When I see the children, I feel in a better mood and time goes by quickly.
She's a long-term volunteer at the home. For everyone from the entry level to the director, she's not just a great social worker, she's a treasure to the whole home.
After a 12-month recovery period, the senior volunteer is back at her post. Smiling her cancer cells away, Wang Honglu-Qing says she will continue to work happily at the Happy Christian Home. It has been 6 years since the Great Asian Tsunami wreaked havoc in Sri Lanka, yet Tzuji's care to the country has never ceased, generating a circle of goodwill in the capital, Colombo. There are now 9 volunteer trainees and 20 aspiring volunteers who regularly visit 13 care-receiving households and a home for the disabled. Recently, Tzuji held its first year-end blessing ceremony in Colombo. Meanwhile, in Hambantota, in the south of the country, the Dai village organized its second local year-end blessing ceremony. More than 700 people arrived to rejoice in the occasion. Among the 700 Hambantota residents attending Tzuji's year-end blessing ceremony is Mr. Luton, who lost his wife and children in the 2004 Asian tsunami. Since 2005, he has been personally dropping off his donations at the local Tzuji liaison office every month.
I'm very grateful for you, for the help you have given to the people here. If all of us contribute just a little, what we pull together will become a powerful source of strength.
After residents moved into their new homes in the Dai village in Hambantota in 2006, this is the second Tzuji year-end blessing ceremony that has been held. Around 700 participants showed up. Meanwhile, at the first ever Tzuji year-end blessing ceremony in the capital, Colombo, people are crowding around the windows because all the 100 seats in the hall have been taken up. The MC of the event, Kumara, first heard of Tzuji from his friend 2 months ago and was instantly attracted to his charity work, which compelled him to drive for 4 hours just to take part in the home visitations. Kumara has even made up his mind to move his home and factory to Colombo so that he can devote more time to Tzuji's work.
That's what I'm looking for. So I think I'm very happy. I didn't think that there are this type of people who are living in this country. But when I go to this place only, I came to know there are several people who are living under this condition. So then it's a good lesson for my life.
Bowing to express their gratitude, children from 13 care-receiving families are thrilled to receive student aid from Guizhou. Now in Colombo, more and more local residents have joined Tzuji's charity efforts, working for the benefits of their neighbors, countrymen, and the world. And more on Tzuji's annual year-end gatherings in Shenzhen and China's Jiangsu province. 5 such festive events took place, attended by more than 1,500 people. An eco-friendly fashion show was also held to raise awareness of conservation among local residents. We'll leave you with these images. Thank you for watching Dai Headlines. Goodbye.